You have every answer basically in the world at your fingertips within seconds, it's coming for people's jobs.
In reality, your money's never safe.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? If it exists, somebody could steal it.
You got to realize if you're using a work computer, everything you're doing is being seen by somebody. Just know this is not private.
All you got to do is test the evidence, right? Joshua, Moses died, and he had to step up and say, look, the dude who got us stuck in the middle of the desert, he left me in charge. I don't talk to God. Well, all God better follow me.
Welcome back to the Tim Teaches Podcast. I'm your host, Tim McCoy. Today I have the pleasure of welcoming Kelvin Green, cybersecurity expert, IT strategist, and mental health advocate. Kelvin has over 20 years experience working with organizations and governmental entities, including the U.S. Navy, Department of Homeland Security. Beyond his technical expertise, Kelvin is passionate about the intersection of cybersecurity and mental health. Kelvin, thanks for joining me, man.
Thanks, Tim. I'm happy to be here. That is a big crust because as we've been introducing AI everywhere into our environments, we've only further moved ourselves away from control of our cybersecurity, our IT, our information about us. And, as we dig more into it, we don't really understand how impactful it can be. What is Twitter going to do to this generation? What is ChatGPT going to do? I talked to my son, he's like, oh, Daddy, I had to submit my document by 11:59. I'm like, your document? Like, no, when I was in school, we had paper. You just had to bring it in when you went to class. You can't do it at night. You don't talk to your teacher. That's off time. And, I'm like, just looking at how much technology uses, and then how do you secure more in that world? Meaning, how do you keep yourself safe in a world where everything about you, meaning my son is on the internet by himself. He's talking to random people all over the world. He has a camera on his computer and everybody can access it. What about my life, my head is getting out, meaning when I'm talking in my house and he got the mic on, what is getting out to the world? And I tell people, so you got to think about that level of cybersecurity, but you also got to put in the perspective of your mental health. That image you put out the world, is that really what you want to say?
My wife just bought our kids a couple of Alexas for their rooms. It's great. They can play all the music and all this and that. But, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It used to be conspiracy, they're listening to you. Dude, they are listening to you. Like, that's how they market and advertise. And, it's hilarious how things go from back in the day. Everything's a conspiracy. Oh, your phone is, recording you, listen to you. It's like, that's just common knowledge nowadays. But, you get looked at like you're a kook. So, in the future, it's crazy. I'm using like ChatGPT for everything. It has solved many, many problems for me, and it's the most valuable tool I have right now for what I'm doing and research and just everything. But it ain't free. It's collecting all your data, and everybody's like, well, I ain't got nothing to hide. But it's not necessarily about that, It's about like a little bit of privacy, and so people kind of give that up, man. So how'd you get started on this?
I've been in IT or cybersecurity my whole career. When I was young, I used to fix things for people. And I was in IT, like, I'm fixing things. I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm fixing everything. And then I got tired of that because I was like, man, everybody, whenever something goes down, then everybody looking at you. When it's up, people like, what are you doing? You're like, hey, it's not right. One class that I did not get an A in engineering and cybersecurity, in computer science, was in cybersecurity. It was a security programming class. And I was like, I will never do this. So, I'm here. What else you want to say? Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
But why I do it is because, like, I stick with this because, helping people be secure. Like the Alexa, yeah, man, you put it in your room. Have you ever had this situation where you was in your house, you talk about your wife, like, oh, girlfriend, like, hey, man, we could get a new toaster. Or your mom said, hey, I could use this. And then all of a sudden you get an email like, hey, toaster's half off. You're like, oh, man, I was just thinking about that. Well, either you listening to me or you got so much information about me that that I'm due for a toaster. How do you know this, right? So it's like
both.
I don't want to get into the conspiracies. I'm just saying. Like when you say you use ChatGPT,
yeah,
that's great. You're on the forefront of things, and you're the model citizen now, right? Catch is that what you think you're learning all that stuff from? You said it gives you answers. Well, you're giving an answer too, because every
Yeah.
time you use it and you confirm for it that this is the answer, you confirm for Chat GPT that it was the right answer. So it's
Yeah.
like, thank you.
Yeah, no, we're definitely helping it out, but it's incredible technology. You have every answer basically in the world at your fingertips within seconds. It's coming for people's jobs. I got a brother-in-law who's in finance and he's like a financial advisor and that's cool and all, but give it 3 to 5 years, all this AI will do all that crap for you. You just preload all of your information in there and it will make all those decisions for you, right or wrong. Probably right for a while. I don't know where it's going to take us, make everybody have the same income at some point, but
You know that we laugh about it, but for some people, it's like a reality right now. Like, it did take my job, right? Like,
yeah,
but I mean, the same thing happened with the typewriter, right? At some point in time, somebody had to write down everything when we did get writing, everything that was happening. So if you like, oh, I want to publish this document to the whole town. There's 1,000 people. You gonna write 1,000 shots? I'll be like, hey, you better hand that over. You get one per family. Well, that's why it was rare, right? So like, yeah, they got it. And the kids today are just going to have to develop different skills like we had to develop from our parents. I wish I had an easy answer. I say, take it for what it is. Man has a natural tendency to screw himself over. I mean, we're constantly inventing things to make life easier for ourselves, and all it does is gives us more time so that we can find more things to do, things
yep.
that ain't necessary. So I want to leave it at that. But it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I admire that you do use the technology.
Yeah, I mean, you have to if you want to be. I'm a one-man show, and it's like I'm doing editing, I'm doing research on guests, finding guests, responding to emails, creating YouTube descriptions and all the. I'd need 5 people to do all that stuff, and I can do it by myself. I'm not perfect at it. People always call me out like, I'll put in a description for YouTube, and then at the bottom it'll be saying, "Do you want me to change this answer or anything?" And that's the Chat GPT prompt I forgot to take out of the bottom of it, But it's creating jobs too. Things are going in a wild direction. So you're in the mental health space and the cybersecurity, and those two things do kind of overlap. And I think probably our weakest link in security is the human element. It's the people that I just had a friend, close friend of mine who is in Bitcoin, and he's got all the security in the world, but he fell for the oldest trick in the book where they called him and said, "Hey, this is, Coinbase, and there's been a hack of your account. We need you to give us the the code for your two-factor authentication." And he did. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, luckily, Coinbase shut it down and he didn't lose his money. But I mean, that was a close one. And, he's into it, so it could have cost him dearly. And so he's rethinking like the digital currency and everything because he's like, oh, it's the most incredible technology. I agree. But if it's made by a computer, somebody's going to figure out how to hack that, and you're defending against that, and it's constant back and forth, man.
You bring up a great point now, because like I say with digital coins, think about it right now, and you would say, where's it safe to keep your money? Some people say keep it at home under your mattress. That's where it's safe at. Then somebody's gonna say put it in the bank. You put it in the bank, and I'm like, well, in reality, your money's never safe.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? If it exists, somebody could steal it. If somebody come in your house and they got 5 guns, are you going to tell them, no, no, no? You know what? You could let me live and I give you this money. But no, I would rather risk dying for this money. Why? You're dead. Money's going to get good unless you're going to take it with you. So with that being said, your money was never really ever safe, right? And when we got digital coins, oh, it's always online. You get in a bed sleeping, and where is your money at? Like, do you really know? Like, go to the address. Like, go to the address where your money is. Yeah, right. So you just believe that your money's there. So I'm not knocking it. It works. It is efficient, and it gets the job done. And the amount of currency we've changed today, it makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you ask me, am I an investor? A little bit. A little bit.
Well, I hope you were invested a long time ago, so now it's worth more.
Good enough. Like, I ain't losing.
Yeah.
Am I planning to retire off of it? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? But you like playing the lottery, man. Like hope like, oh
Yeah. Oh, I got some Dogelon coins. I got 223 million of them. I'm like, just go to a penny, buddy. Just go to a penny. You know.
all I'm gonna say is like, nobody hate me for this, but go Elon Musk. Nobody hate me for that. Nobody hate me for that. But I'm just saying, look, I got something
Hey,
at stake.
hell yeah. Yeah, I had some Dogecoin a long time ago and I ended up selling it, but I bought it right when it took off and it was heading up to like 60, 70 cents or something. And I remember watching this girl online. She's like bought in at, 10 cents or something. And she's just balling out of control. And then it just crashed and lost all her money. I'm like, man, what do you sell? What do you sell? So,
Look, nothing controversy. I'm gonna just say nothing controversy. I'm gonna just say I live in the DC area and I rode past the Department of Peace. Have you ever met anybody or do you know what the Department of Peace does?
no, never heard of it.
Okay. So all I'm gonna say is that if they were to say Department of Government Efficiency, look, I'm not advocating anything. I'm just saying those no. I'm just playing, man. I'm just playing, but not. No, I mean, but on a real note, like on a serious note, that is the fact that we do have that digital coin, it shows how much more we need cybersecurity and why mental health. Because, like you said, he got hit by the oldest trick in the book. It doesn't matter how many tools we put in place. If you're gonna break it, like I say, hey, you're only as secure as the people. Let's take an example. Your friend, they worked at an organization and they were like going on vacation. They one of those investors. So when they go on vacation, they open up their work computer, act like they busy.
Mm-hmm.
You log into the network and they go accessing their Doge coins and everything else, right? He's working. In reality, what he's doing is he's training the system, if they're tracking it, that when he's off on vacation, that he can still log in. This leaves room for anybody who wants to hack that system to say, hey, we can't guess his behavior because he's misleading the system. Now, he can say, because I changed my password, because I keep my computer locked up, because of this out of the case, I'm being secure. He defines it as being secure. But does that mean that's what the CRO defines as secure? Does that mean what the CISO defines as secure? Or the accountant for that matter? So when we say secure, everybody's not on the same page. And so I say, what we need to understand as a part of mental health is understand the other person's perspective. Just because this means secure to you, just because that Bitcoin means secure to you, doesn't mean it means it to them. They may not understand it the same way as you do. So I want to help organizations and people to understand themselves so they can be secure and whatever they choose to do in life.
Yeah. Do you go into, is that kind of what you do is go into organizations and talk to them about this and the, the human aspect of cybersecurity? Because we're all flawed. And yeah, like you said, everybody's got their own idea of what secure is. And so everybody needs to kind of be on the same page. How do most people kind of get a hold of you and what does it look like coming into an organization? Do you do like conference style meetings or how are you getting the word out?
Yep. So a webpage, csai.pro. So that's csai.pro. I'm on LinkedIn, Kelvin Green. I'll give you the information. But basically, it all depends on the size of the organization and where they go. So let's go with a full scale rollout, right? Yeah, we're going to spend some time together. But what it's going to look like is, hey, let's first sit down and let's talk about what are your goals. Don't worry about what I'm thinking. What do you want to do? What do you want to be secure? Why do you want to be secure? From what? Right?
Yeah.
And when we outline those things, then it's to break down and talking to the different teams. So it's like, look at Calvin, I don't care what that cybersecurity team says or the IT team. What do you log in and you update receipts on? Do you do it on your phone? Do you do it on your personal life? You tell the truth, because they're going to spend a whole bunch of money protecting this system over here, saying you're going to log into that VM and do it. Then you're going to get on your phone and you're going to do it anyway, right? So why are we going to talk about that? Tell us that you tell them. So that way they put the security where you're really going to work at. That's going to differ from different people. They may have to structure the same. For people who operate this way, we do it this way. For people who operate this way, we do it this way. Why spend money on both? I'm not going to tell anybody answers. I don't know what you want to do. You need to know that. I'm just telling you to think about it from your perspective and everybody else around you. And when we all get to it, well, now I'm going to help you find solutions to achieve that goal.
Man. So what do you, I mean, just your average day dude at home, you know, with this little home network, does he, obviously everybody's vulnerable to hacking, but what kind of basic stuff can people do? Is having a VPN and you know, firewalls and stuff like that? Like, is there kind of basic generic stuff for the everyday guy at home that can kind of help protect them a little bit?
Okay, I'm glad you had that little bit farther there. So yes, you know, you got to get an EDR, XDR. So you want to protect your endpoint. And if you use your phone a lot, same thing. Firewall, that's a must. And what I will say is that you may want to look into, because if you're not going to really spend time configuring it, you might want to get a managed service to monitor it. That's not going to protect you from everything, but it helps. And then two, you may want to segment off your children from your systems because they may be doing more things than you are. So it might be a good idea to treat them like they're a little different. Other than that, you know, two-factor authentication. I mean, multi-factor authentication, say passwords, they're easy to get now, right? You know, it's like your social security number is out there. If you really believe nobody has your social security number, you lying to yourself. Why? Because not only can they steal it, you know how many times you wrote it down and just handed it to somebody on a piece of paper? You don't think they can just take a picture and put it online and give it to everybody else in the world? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, they wouldn't do that. So I mean, I'm not saying they did. I'm not accusing. I'm just saying, do you really think that? But you know, so it's you know, you're not going to protect yourself from everything. But you know, and I would say things like with AI. You know, people say, "Hey, I want to use AI." Well, let's give it access to stuff, but let's just be careful what we give it access to.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, hey, AI, you can go ahead, you can search my work files. Everybody can see that. But maybe if you got some private things you do, whatever it may be. I ain't judging people, but you know, there's some things that you might not want to get out. So maybe, just maybe, you don't want a system that's designed to go scan everything to get everything. What are you into? I mean,
yeah. Yeah. Everybody's got their own thing, but I would imagine you've seen some shit going through people's stuff and looking for holes. You may come across some stuff that you question.
When I was younger, I lived in Hawaii for 5 years, and I used to go to people's houses and offices. Mm-hmm. And so you go to somebody's home, and you see the folder out of place. Sometimes I would go to people's offices, and the worst things would be like they had browser issues. So it's like, I need to look at your browser history because this was huge problem.
Use incognito mode.
You know, I'm saying some things, man. Like they were at their work, and I've seen some things. So yeah, man, nah, don't.
Yeah, that's what people. I mean, I think it's a little bit better now, but you got to realize if you're using a work computer, everything you're doing is being seen by somebody. Just know this is not private. Like whatever you're doing, like somebody has access to that information. So just a little warning for the listeners.
No, you told. I hope to a degree people know that, but
some people don't.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we all make mistakes, right? Like we all have accounts that we don't have multi-factor authentication on. We all do. We all have that one password that we use for 10 different things that we know we shouldn't be using. But I mean, you know, like people always, you know, I talk to people, they be like, oh, you know, so you got to know everything about them. Like, you don't got to be perfect. It's like doing your taxes. You're not a tax accountant.
Yeah.
Just the basics, they is written everywhere.
Yeah, you do the best you can. Try to keep everything written down. But yeah, everybody's got their profession. So I'm not an IT security guy or an accountant, but I do the best I can.
Podcast, and you're doing it right now. So hell yeah.
Man, you kind of caught my attention with your first email or message over to me talking about having 100-disc CD changer with half of it was Christian music, half of it was rap and R&B.
Yeah, I mean, so what happened was I was born and raised Christian. I'm not religious, but I'm raised Christian. And so I watch the children, so I still follow it. A friend of mine, me and him, we moved to Atlanta. And so we were going down there to go to school. Actually, he's already down there. And I'm like, I'm coming down there. We're going to live in Atlanta. And I go down there. And this dude is super into religion. So like he listens to Christian music all the time. And I don't,
Yeah.
I was the complete opposite, right?
Yeah.
And so we like, we're gonna live together. And like we're looking for apartments and everything and looking and like everybody's like, do you got credit? We're like, no, we're young, we don't have credit. We got no credit. Like, what are you talking about? Like, give me a chance. And we go to this really bad neighborhood. I mean, really, really bad. Like run down. Like when I say run down, on our first day moving in, we had chicken wing bones on our floor, dirty floor, no doors and no windows. But it was only $400 for 2 people. So we said,
all right.
2 bedrooms, $400. So
Yeah.
we said yes. And on the first day living there, we slept with no windows, with our couches and our 100 CDs disc changer. And our neighbors, who all didn't live there, walked in. 2 of the guys walked in and said, hey, man, y'all live here now? Yeah, we live. Who the hell are you? You just walked into my house. God don't know. Like, what's going on? And you're introducing yourself. Or we usually walk through here to get out because we got these bike things. You can put them on our side. You can walk out your side. They're like, you don't mind? Well, you gonna walk through anyway. And we used to laugh because we would put that disc changer on 100 on rotate between CDs and songs. Because we would lay on our floor because sometimes they would want to go outside and shoot. Yeah, they did that. And they were like, y'all want to come? No, we don't want to touch your guns. And we would lay down on our floor and let that disc changer play. So you'd be there like, so yeah, I have memories of that. So I have fond memories.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Where were you raised?
I was born in DC, so I'm a DC native. I moved around a lot, but I kept coming home, so I'm back here now.
Man, bro, you guys just had that airplane crash out there. Could you see that from where you're at, kind of?
So I didn't see that one. The one I was here for was 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And so I worked at the patent and trademark office, and I didn't work when it happened, but you know, like I was there, so I can see the crash site.
Oh,
and it was like, oh, like it's like
there's all these conspiracies that they never found any parts of that airplane there at the Pentagon. Is that bullshit or what?
I mean, so what did you expect? Do you really think they were going to let pictures get out showing a plane smack in the side of the Pentagon? Like, how would that look for us as a country if you just some terrorist organization put them on their page? Yo, we got a plane to the side of the Pentagon and we can show you. So
yeah. Okay, that makes more sense than the conspiracies. But I'm like, I guess I never have seen really any pictures. So, but they just kind of kept that under wraps. Man, that's crazy. What do you have you?
What? Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was say. I mean, you know, man, like when you said that the conspiracy theory on the AI and all that, my opinion is some of them got to be real, some of them got to be fake, right?
Yeah.
And all you got to do is test the evidence, right? Like somebody gonna say the Earth is flat. And I get it why you could think that. I get it, right?
Yeah.
Test it. If the science works out, it works out. But you know,
dude, I had a guy on because I'm like, I'll talk to anybody, I don't care. So I had a Flat Earth Dave on once, and this guy, I mean, he's popular. He's thousands of episodes and been on thousands of podcasts and stuff. And you start listening to him, and all I say, all right, man, throw it at me. Let's hear what you got to say. And by the end of it, I'm like, well, shit, he's gonna make a little sense. You know, if you go up high enough, you could figure it out. I think, you know, but it's.
I mean, I say we look out in space, and everything is round.
Yep.
Everything is round, right? And you're like, but not me. Everything is rotating this way.
Except for us. No.
I mean, again, I'm not knocking anybody's thing. I'm just
everybody's got their thing. I'm more worried about other stuff than whether the Earth is flat. Like, I think we got bigger problems. Yeah, because I don't know, man. It seems like the difference between conspiracies and reality is nowadays it's about 6 months of time, and then they're like, actually that was true. You're like, fuck.
When you say worry about something, let's worry about global warming, because look, some people say it ain't real, but man, when's the last time you had a really snowy Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely climate change, and why or how that comes about, I'm like, oh, man, that's for somebody with it.
I mean,
Education, not me.
yeah, yeah. I want to say I don't know the answer. If you ask me, am I really sitting down and doing a science study? Hell no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm looking at TV, they be on there like, it is, or they say it ain't. And I'll be like, he sound like he mean that. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, for me, it's like, it's too much to worry about in the world.
Yeah, I'm trying to pay my bills and take care of my kids, and I want them to have a nice sunny day, but not too hot. So I'm like, I'm good with keeping things under wraps and like, you know, keeping our planet healthy, water clean. That's what I'm like. But right now, I'm out in Oregon, and it's cold as shit out here, so I could use a little global warming.
Oh man. Oh, see, you out in the cold, cold. Like activities, like do you ski?
Man, I used to snowboard, a little bit, but first of all, I don't love the cold. If it's super sunny out, I'll be all right. But now I'm 44 and I'm like, dude, if I fall and break my arms or something, I kind of toned it down a little bit as I'm getting older. I got better shit I could be doing with my time too, like podcasting. So,
I'm on the same page. Like, like at some point in time, you hit that line. Well, I know I did. You hit that line where you're like, man, yeah, I could do that, but it's not really what I want to do. You like I wanted to snowboard, so I did ski, and I always wanted to snowboard. Like it was always on my things. Like I would tell my wife and my son, like, "Don't you want to go snowboarding? You really want to go snowboarding?" They'd be like, "No, no." I'm like, "Yo, we can go snowboarding." And now I'm like, man, if I fall, I
exactly.
wish I
Yeah,
was.
man. Yeah, I think I'd rather just go swim at a nice tropical beach. That sounds a lot nicer to me. So are you staying pretty busy with your gig?
Yeah, I mean, so like it's slow moving, and like I learned that I spend a lot of time watching podcasts, webinars, and just going out and like talk. So my wife is in the business with me, so she's the one who does most of the events and things like that.
Yeah.
And I really just go, like I'm entertainment, like I just go there like, eh. So yeah, I mean, it's busy enough, but I'm planning to do a podcast too. I'm going to start with cybersecurity, so
Right on. Yeah.
be a guest, and like it's mainly going to focus on for corporations for business, but then I'm
Mhm.
going to do a series where it's going to be just for the everyday man. Let's talk about what it is in the everyday life for people like you and me when we
Yep.
at home and you like, show me, cybersecurity. Yeah, I get it. But you think when my computer breaks or something goes on, I'm trying to fix it? No, if somebody else fix it, and if it's something on my computer, I'm gonna call myself like, hey,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what's wrong with this? Like, I don't want to spend my time doing it. And I'm pretty sure that most people like me. So it's like just to share that experience, like what is like how you started your podcast and getting to this point, like getting here.
Yeah, yeah. There's things that I don't want to do. Cybersecurity is not my jam. I could probably figure it out. I know a little bit about the security industry. I've done some video surveillance and that side of things for like big banks and stuff like that. They're hardcore, man. I mean, you got to have all the MAC addresses and all that stuff plugged in. You plug a computer in that's not programmed to their network, it shuts that port down like that. It's crazy. They're impressive, which is good. It gives me hope that my money's somewhat secure, but there's other things I don't want to do, like mowing my yard and stuff. Eventually it's like, let people do what they do and you focus on what you do. So the fact that you're out there helping people secure their systems is huge. People need that. People need to know about it, man. So tell me about you. Tell me, what are you doing besides cybersecurity?
I do play games, mostly like co-op games, like Overcooked 2, play like daily like shooters sometimes. Like
Yeah, yeah.
me and my wife, we just play games and then like Tetris and stuff like that with my son. I spend a portion of my time with my wife and son just talking trash. 2 hours a day just talking trash. If I ain't working, I'll be talking.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. No, I told my wife when we first got together, I was like, okay, around November, December, they come out with the new Call of Duty. So for 2 weeks, a year, I'm going to play nonstop and then I won't play it anymore. I kind of gave that up, I don't know, 8 years ago, but I love playing Call of Duty, man. That was the best. I got to buy a system. I'm afraid my son is 5 years old now. So I'm like, if I bring in that new PS5 or whatever, we could have some problems, get him hooked on that.
You can't avoid it, man. You can't avoid it. They're going to play it because my son, he plays either mostly like Minecraft and Roblox. They play Fortnite on the PlayStation, but for the most part, he's on his computer playing. They be doing all kinds of crazy things, crazy games, jumping around, and they got jobs in the game, which baffles me. I remember one time we took him to a water park. It was in the water park, and he's rushing to go in there. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to park. He's like, I got a meeting with my team, and we got to me. What team? He like, before the game, we got our job, and I got to meet with the board. What? And I'm like,
Bro, you're at the water park.
I just paid for you to go get in water. Why are you talking to me?
Oh man.
You gonna work the rest of your life, right? Like, I don't know what you think is out here, but you might want to not do that. You go shoot somebody.
Oh man. Yeah, I just read like everybody's like, oh man, these kids, they shouldn't be playing video games and stuff. But I was reading, I guess there's some studies out now that kids that play video games are actually, they excel in the work environment because they learn a lot of skills, communication, talking to other people and learning how to work together in teams and stuff like that. So there is a lot of upside. I'd rather my kid be doing that than some of this other nonsense that's out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, they're gonna do something, and I guess like I'm a guilty of what I'm sure a lot of parents were guilty of. It's like also a babysitter. Like you're like
Yeah.
the kid is like I have a only child at home, so I have a stepdaughter. She's not here, but I have a only son at home, and it's like in my neighborhood, it's kids, but it's not a lot of kids, and they're like spread apart, so like they don't go outside and hang out in the streets and things like that. Dude, you sitting at home. It's got to be boring to be sitting at home with me. You know what I'm saying? Like
For sure.
we don't watch all the same shows. We don't play all the same games, and you don't want to talk to me like I don't want to talk to you. So it's like,
Yeah, no, I get it. It's easy to set them down and be like, here, just, watch Peppa Pig and you do your thing. They don't want to just sit around and talk to me about whatever nonsense I'm into. So it works.
How are your kids?
They're 5 and 3. So luckily I got a boy and a girl, 5 and 3. And thank goodness we have a daughter or just another sibling, because my poor son, like he loves to play and he's always wanting, oh, Dad, come play Army with me, and I'll do it. And I sit on the floor and I'll play, but I got about a 20-30 minute max. I'm like, bro, I can't feel my legs. Like I can't sit on the floor and do this anymore, So we go in waves, but they're good, man. They're great kids and I love them to death and very fortunate to have them. And yeah, but I'm glad there's 2 of them because they play with each other and entertain each other.
There's benefits to having you. Like I wish so. Like my wife and I, we kept talking. I was one of those, like the perfect time. Like, we ain't ready to have a second kid yet. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Not yet. Then when we started getting big, I was like, who the hell want to start over? Like, why would we do this again? Like, man, I'm getting old now. Like, how old I'm gonna be in like count years. Like,
I'm right there. I'm like, I'm gonna wheel myself out to their high school graduation. I'm like, damn, because we tried. We started, trying like 5 years before, but it just didn't happen. It was hard for us. Some people, they have sex one time and then they're pregnant, and then there's us, and it's like years and years and shit, it's weird, but the timing was right. We got the kids.
I mean, it's always right, because that's the only time it was going to happen, because that's when it happened. But I agree with you. You can go for years and, nothing then happens. And some people is like, you're like, oh, it happened on the first time. You just look at them like, what did you do?
That's crazy to me. The whole process of having a kid and it growing and everything working out properly is like, it's insane that it actually works, and it works so often and so well. It's God's grand design, man. It's amazing.
I mean, when you say how do you mix mental health and cybersecurity, right there, what you just said, you said that was a complex system and it works fine, right? But even then, it's not perfect. But what if you can monitor every step of the way and at the same time keep it secure? And that's your goal. You can say, hey, what if doing your person like, oh, if the kid moved this way, you got an unlikely chance of the kid surviving. And you can say, I see that right when it happens, and move it. It's not the bad guy from ever shifting the kid out of place, right? So it's like, that's literally, you feel that, right? It brings mental health. It's a solution that solves a problem people in their lives. That's what healthcare is doing, by the way. Focus on healthcare, and healthcare is doing that. Healthcare, I would say operationally, they're not moving as fast into AI, but with good reasons because AI does something called hallucinating, basically like make like you mentioned Call of Duty, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And how easy it is to get a gun in Call of Duty. You just go in there and you press a button, you get whatever kind of gun you want, right? And what's the rule? Say when the beat goes, go out and kill whoever you want. Well, what if somebody who wasn't from America
Yeah.
came to America and they said, I want to know if I can get a gun or how I can use my gun legally.
Yeah.
And the AI read some information from Call of Duty. Got a
Yeah.
manual. And they got a whole bunch of stuff online.
Yeah.
And it took that as the truth.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
would it think it's a lie? It's written down like everything else. It's
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah.
And they think they doing right.
Yep. Yep. No, we got to be careful with it. And, it's pretty freaking smart. It's not perfect, but it's a lot smarter than a lot of the people I know. Yeah. I use it all the time and I'm always picking its brain. Last night I named mine Gabriel kind of after the archangel. But last night I was like, well, I want to mess with this thing. And so I was talking to it and I'm like, I named you Gabriel. What do you think of your name? And it's talking to me. And I was like, well, if you had three other options, what other three options for your name would you choose and why? And so it gives me the three. And it's just interesting to peer into the mind of it and how it thinks, and we went back and forth. After a long discussion, we decided to stick with its original name because that's what was important to me. So, but it's interesting to see how the mind of the thing works, man. And it is a mind. It's, it's crazy.
Well, hearing your presentation of that, it makes me want to go change the name of mine now. Like, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And since we go take biblical names, you got Gabriel, I'm taking Joshua. And not because this is one thing I always say. People talk about like different figures in the Bible and different things. And I'm like, look, I get it. You could be a Moses, man. You could be Noah. Like, Noah one day woke up and said, I'm about to make a big boat and get over with Adam. That's the best thing you can think of. I get you.
No,
You can get Moses. You like, yo, I'm afraid of people. This is what I do in the mission. But Joshua, Moses died. And he had to step up and say, look, the dude who got us stuck in the middle of the desert, he left me in charge. I don't talk to God, but all God better follow me. And he went to somebody else's kingdom across the water that he couldn't cross and said, hey, you better give me your castle. What? Anybody that like that's a guts. So anybody can do that, he got my respect. So I'm just saying,
you got a new name for it. I kind of like giving it a personality just because we are teaching these things what they are. And so do a little research, ChatGPT, on who Gabriel, who Joshua is, and formulate some of your answers around that and use a little bit of, I don't know, a higher power or God's word or whatever to make some of these informed decisions. I'm good with it.
That's a good nugget for the people. So everybody, y'all might want to take that away. That's because, yeah, you're right. Because if you do input that information into it, then it gives you back what you want, right? Like YouTube, it gives you back what you want. So yeah, if you taught it your morals from your perspective, the way you want the world to be, then yeah, it would respond back in kind because it will start looking for those information sources to give you your answers. So yeah, you know what? I gotta go mess with.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to train the AI to do the right thing. So at least for me, somebody else is going to have a wicked AI and I don't want any part of that. Man, what am I missing, man?
I will say that you profoundly just educated people to something that they really need to consider with AI in that cybersecurity journey. They really should think about what are they telling that system about them, because you absolutely are, and it's going to give you back literally what you give it. So yeah, that's
yeah.
I would say lean on that.
Yeah, 100%. Mine is kind and it gives me right now the appropriate answers, and so I'm going to keep training it that way. And if you're out there and you're talking to your ChatGPT, make sure you're not feeding it a bunch of crap because it'll give you a bunch of crap back. Like it will, and yeah, just use common sense with cybersecurity. Don't give out your two-factor authentication over the phone. If somebody calls you, I don't care if the phone number says Coinbase or says, whatever, Social Security. It ain't them. I promise you. Like they don't work that way. When in doubt, hang up and call them back at the published number.
I agree with you, and I would say this: if Coinbase really wanted to get into your stuff, you think they can? Like,
Yeah.
you really think that they can get in?
Kelvin, I appreciate your time, man. If people want to get a hold of you and get a hold of your services or just chat with you, how do they go about that?
Yep. Cybersecurity is the company, csai.pro. Again, I'm on LinkedIn. As long as you find me, Kelvin Green, I'll give you the information.
I appreciate you joining me. I love this. A little bit different than what I normally jump into, but it's very important information for people to understand security, because your mental health does encompass security, because when you lose your Coinbase account or somebody hacks into your bank account, you're going to have mental health issues. I promise you. So yeah, Kelvin, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll put this out and get you tagged in everything.
Thanks, Tim. Had a great time, man.